Okay, so welcome to the show, Angela Gabriel. Angela, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, thank you. So yeah, we were introduced by Brittany Howard, and Brittany's in Baton Rouge as well, isn't she?
Correct. Brittany's in Baton Rouge. She's maybe about 15 minutes away from like the middle part of Baton Rouge, but yeah, Brittany's here. She's a hop, skip, and a jump away from me.
Nice, nice. Yeah, she's a fun gal. Um, do you guys ever, compete against any deals or anything, or is it kind of separate?
No,
No.
that's the great thing about our network, our circle here. It's not a lot of competition. We've learned to work together. When we see each other's listings, we tend to try to sell each other's property because it's just so much easier working with someone, number one, who knows the business, and just someone that's a great person. And we all have families, and we're just, like I say, just trying to succeed out here. So
Yeah.
if Brittany has a listing and I have a client, I am definitely showing her properties first.
Gotcha, gotcha. So before we go into your backstory, I want to find out a little bit about your business today. I mean, where are you at? You know, what's the name of your company? What's your sort of volume, and how things going?
Something told me to get all these numbers written down. I said, when I woke up this morning at 4:45, I said I should write all this down and put bullet points because I know he's going to ask me versus me just trying to go off the top of my head. But I will tell you, I am still in a growing phase. Since my injury in 2017, just really was just trying to find myself, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. When I came back into the business, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go back out on the true active side of listening and selling, if I just wanted to coach, if I wanted to just recruit and mentor. But where I am right now, I am in the process of signing up with one of my really, really good friends in the business. I've been knowing her almost 20 years. And where I'm about to sign up now is as what's called a productivity coach. And my job with her company will mainly at this point be to train, recruit, and mentor and help other agents grow their businesses and just get to that point where, they have success. Number-wise, this year has been more of a self-discovery year for me, just really focusing on self and health. Once you hear my whole story, you're gonna realize, okay, why I had to really take a moment and take care of myself. Because like they say, you really can't pour from an empty cup. And I have been pouring from an empty cup the last 2 years.
Gotcha, gotcha. Are you with EXP or are you with another brokerage?
See, I haven't even told everyone yet. So by the time this actually launches, when this podcast plays, I have switched over to another brokerage. It is Southern United Properties. It's here in Baton Rouge. It's all family owned, and it gives me the opportunity to really do what I love, and that's really just being able to put my hands on individuals and actually touch their lives, watch what I do, and just see how it affects their spouses, their children, their grandchildren, because that's where I get like the most, I guess, that good feeling when you see the work that you put in where it helps somebody else's family.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you're going more the coaching route with a bit of production.
Yes.
Yeah, got it. No, sounds good.
I've always been a giver, a caretaker. Even when I just think about, people used to ask me, if I wasn't in real estate, what would I be doing? And my thing has always been I would be a high school biology teacher, and I would coach volleyball and coach track. I've been that person that just loves take care of people. And since my incident, it has come back tenfold to me. I can remember one day being in the hospital asking an agent, where did all these people come from to help me? And his first thing was, Angela, that's just all the people that you've taken care of yourself. So, it's a blessing.
Yeah, yeah. So you have had, you've been in the real estate game quite a while though, haven't you?
Yes, I'm old school now.
How many years total have you been in real estate?
20 years.
20 years. Wow. Wow. Yeah, you are
20
old school.
years. So I am definitely on the backside of business.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'll make a great coach. I mean, you've seen everything.
Yes.
So, okay. So, when I started this podcast, it was all about, helping motivate other agents and make them realize how good they've actually got it compared to some other people out there. It's very easy to get down about certain things, but I think you're a real testament. You've have to overcome an incredible, crazy story that happened. I mean, I can't even put it into words. I mean, you'll do. I mean, we'll go into that in a second, but you know, I'm really, how you were able to do that is a testament to you as a person. So I want to understand a little bit about you as a person growing up. I mean, what made you so strong? What made you the person you are to be able to overcome what you did? Tell me a little bit about your childhood and growing up.
I am the oldest of four, growing up in the house. I have 3 sisters and a brother that's in the house, but outside of the house, I have, 4 brothers and another sister. So growing up, I came from that single parent, that single mom home. Mom constantly working. Me and my siblings at home really learning how to just, take care of ourselves. Raised a lot by my grandparents. Grandparents stayed around the corner. Really just having to learn how to figure out a lot on your own as a kid. But what I found out really worked for me was that outlet of sports. That's why I'm such a huge advocate for children getting involved in extracurricular activities, because people don't realize how much that saves a young person's life, because it gives them something to do, something with a purpose, something that's theirs. And I started playing sports in middle school, and it just, I don't know how to describe it. But growing up, like I said, I had that strict grandmother, those siblings, and just really just trying to learn how to stand out and just be different from everybody else.
And did you go away to college? I mean, what happened after? Yeah.
So, of course, I get into high school, and my only goal is I want to play volleyball for LSU, and I want to major in child psychology. So 9th, 10th, 11th grade year, senior year, that's my plan. Then the spring of 1993, an Army recruiter comes around and starts having a conversation with me about, you can play volleyball in the Army. And I'm only 17. I'm thinking, I can. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to do all this. And I went to the Army after I graduated from high school. And that is one of those unknown secrets about me, that I actually went to the military. I will tell you, I really didn't get an opportunity to stay in too long. And I remember having a conversation with my dad about wanting to go to jump school, because I told you I've always wanted to be different. I've never wanted to be like that average person. And my dad was like, why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane, Angela? It made me different. I wanted the beret. I wanted to be different. So went to the military. After I got out of the Army, I came back home to Baton Rouge, went to college. And while I was in college, I was in interior design. And that's how I got into like the construction side. I started doing some work with some builders. And just one Sunday morning, I woke up and I said, I think I want to sell real estate. And then that Monday, I checked out real estate schools. And then the next Monday, like they say, the rest is history.
Wow. And what age were you, roughly?
28.
Okay. Wow. So, okay. Yeah. So you got your license. You're in Baton Rouge this whole time?
I've been in Baton Rouge the entire time. I've tried to leave, but, Baton Rouge tends to be like a little wormhole. Every time you leave, you always come back. And we have 2 major universities here. So it's like we have so many people that come from around the country. When they come here to Southern University or to LSU, they tend to stay. They never leave. And that's what happens when you come here.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So you got your license. At this stage, are you single? You married?
Nope. Single mom. Me and my oldest, the 24-year-old. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, okay, I can make this work for us. for the longest. It was just me and him. And when he made 12, that's when I had my daughter. And it was a tough thing because I just didn't think that I would have any more children. And like I said, he was 12. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to retire from real estate. And when he makes 18, I'm just going to travel the world. It's going to be to the point where all his friends say, what part of the world is your mom in now? But I had my daughter. And after my daughter, I flipped my Cameron in, my 9-year-old in on everyone. And then after Cameron, of course, there was Grayson. So, nope, I'm a single, hardworking mother of 4 children.
Okay. So you were never married during this stage?
Never married.
Okay. So
I've been proposed to several times, but had to rethink all those proposals. And like I said, everything that you do in life or that you don't do in life only brings you to the purpose in life that you really supposed to be in. And that's why I never say things that may have went wrong or did not happen the way that I expect to happen in life. I don't regret anything because it's only brought me to the road that I'm on right now. So whether it was good or bad, I take everything, and like I said, once I start explaining a little bit of my journey over the last 2 years, you realize, like they say, change your perspective, and then everything else changes for you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're a single mom, you've got these kids, you're doing real estate. How's that going for you? Do you hang your license at a brokerage? Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? I mean, it must have been.
I have a coach.
Yeah, it must have been really tough in the beginning.
Yeah, it really is. When I first started selling, when I tell you I didn't know anything about real estate, I didn't know anything. I didn't have any friends that was in real estate. I wasn't even a homeowner. And I got into the business, and what I did was I just showed up every day. There was a young lady, her and I are still friends to this day. Whenever she made a move, I made a move. She went to the bathroom, I stood outside of the bathroom door and I waited. She went to the store, I rode with her. I just wanted to know everything that I could about real estate. And she really, really helped me from learning the financing side to the appraisal side, the mortgage side, just everything. And it was just a matter of learning. And I didn't know anything about coaching and mentoring in actuality until maybe 2015. I got ready to change brokerages, and the team leader that brought me on to her market center, she just saw something different in me. And what I tell people is like she would just drop these little seeds, and she would just wait for everything to grow. And it took me from wanting to be like this top-notch agent thinking about self to this agent who really, really wanted to pour into other agents and really help them grow their business. Because that's where I found the most satisfaction at. She realized that I was not a money-driven realtor, which is, it's like how can you not let your business be led by, your bottom line? But for me, it was just watching other people become successful, and that's what made me happy. And it just grew from 2015 until I had the little hiccup in 2017. But like I said, I'm still growing. It's ever changing every day. Today was one of those days where I learned to do something new. I took a lift today totally by myself with my 4-year-old. All by myself. No escort, no chaperone, no nothing. Totally by myself. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, as an agent, what was the one thing that you did that really helped you to sort of sell homes? I mean, everyone's sort of got their one thing, right, that they're really good at, whether it's just door knocking or whether it's like internet leads or whatever. What's the sort of, would you say is the one thing you use to generate leads to help grow your business?
I will tell you the best thing that worked for me was just staying really basic, having those relationships with people. Me and my friend were just talking this morning, just, really trying to get back to the basics of real estate. And that's just the relationships. There are so many different outlets now where you can buy a ton of leads or all these different ways. But what it all boils down to is those personal relationships that you have with individuals. And I find that's what really works for me. Developing the relationships, nurturing them. And as they say, people do business with people that they trust and they like, and honest to God, they can relate to. And that's what I surround myself with. My kids have always played sports, and I am that mom. I'm that person out there that, oh, Jordan's mother sells real estate. Cam's mom sells real estate. I want to be that team's go-to realtor, and that's why I found success in my business, is nurturing the relationship.
Gotcha. So do you have any assistants, or what do you use for leverage? Are you pretty much a one-person show at this stage, or have you got a team, or I'm just curious?
I've had to learn leverage, which was extremely hard because I was one of those people that thought it wasn't going to be done right unless I did it. It's still a growing phase for me, learning how to trust other people to make the right decisions and just do what's best. But I find that when I have the conversations, I introduce them to my children, and I let them know that when you're working in conjunction with me, when you're helping me, when I'm using you, or we're partnering together to help grow, that these are the little people that you're helping. I am in the process of really just building team out. Showing assistant, that model has been a lifesaver for me, where I just have to build a relationship and I send someone out to show the property for me. Transaction management. Another thing, I had to learn to release some of the paperwork, because a person can look at a checklist to do paperwork, but relationships, that's all for me to do. So yeah, showing assistant and transaction management.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit. Walk me through what happened to you in 2017, and sort of how this sort of went down.
Okay. As I said, 2016 was a tremendous year of growth for me personally and business-wise. And February 22nd, 2017, my youngest two sons, their father, shot me a total of 9 times while I took a bath. That did leave me paralyzed from my chest down. And when I tell you, that morning started off like any other morning. I got Cameron and Julie up to catch the bus. They caught the bus at 6:45. I waved them off. One of my coworkers called me, because we used to have our morning 6:45 conversation about what our day would be like and, what to expect and what our meetings were that day. And I didn't answer him that morning. And his running joke right now is, if I would have answered him, that would not have happened to me. And we can laugh at those things now, because like I said, it's 2 years later. But if I would have answered him that morning, I would have went to the kitchen and had tea versus going back to the bedroom. And me and my significant other we got into an argument, and it wasn't even a big argument. It was something as simple as having a disagreement about pumping Grayson's nose. And I was finished with the argument, went to go take my bath, and next thing I know, I look up and I see the last 2 gunshots. And that's when I realized that I had been shot. I did not know how many times I had been shot, but realizing that, I can just remember looking up at him and saying, "You shot me." And I asked him to dial 911, and he called them, left out, bought the phone back to me, dialed out again off of my cell phone, and we talked to the paramedics again. And I tell you, it was that true come to Jesus moment, laying there thinking that I was about to die. And I prayed, and the man above himself shows up for me. And I could have easily given up that morning, but I knew that I had four little people that were dependent on me. And I can remember asking the paramedics when I got in that truck that morning, please don't let me die. I have four children. And amazingly, after all of that, I took my first set of visitors 4 hours later, and the way that you see me right now is the same way I looked that morning when everyone came in to visit me. You know, no tubes, no rest, nothing. Just literally straight into conversation. Didn't know I was paralyzed yet.
Nope, there you are. Oops, sorry, are you there? It cut out all of a sudden. Oh, I can see you now, but it's cutting out. No, I can't hear you. All of a sudden, the audio is gone. It's so weird. Oh, yeah, there you go. That's better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It looked like it went to mute, and now
Okay,
you're
good,
back. Okay.
Give
Cool.
me 1 second. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. So we left off at, you took your first set of visitors like 4 hours later, but you didn't know you were paralyzed yet. So yeah, let's take off from there. Let's keep going from there.
When I woke up, it was my mom and my stepdad and my little girl's father. And my next set of visitors was my Keller Williams family. When they came in, he was like, Angela, you have at least 100 people out in that waiting room for you. He was like, it's nothing but standing room. And I'm like, oh my God, where are all those people coming from? And as I said, his words were, those are just people that you've treated good. I said, they do know they're not gonna be able to see me, right? So of course, that day was a ton of visitors. The next day was a little blurry. Our regional director came down to visit me. Did not realize that I was such a huge news story until that next week. That Friday morning, I didn't find out I was paralyzed until that Thursday afternoon when my mom and the doctor was in, and my mother asked the doctor, was I permanently paralyzed? And I can remember that doctor looking at my mom saying, yes, ma'am, your daughter is paralyzed for the rest of her life. And my little mom, she just has this beet red nose and she's just crying. And, my reaction was totally different than that. Sometimes you get that gut drop when something bad happens or you hear bad news. I didn't have it. I've never cried over being paralyzed. I get frustrated over the things that it stops me from being able to do for my children. But being in a wheelchair, I'm literally learning to figure things out. That Friday, I had my assistant come in, open the blinds in intensive care unit, give me light, and I told her, go get my work bag. I need to call my clients. She was like, you do realize that you were shot 9 times like 48 hours ago. I'm like, yeah, and I feel good. I think I have to call people and let them know what's going on. And she's thinking, I think they already know. So of course, I get the security guard, the guy that was at my door in intensive care unit. We sell him a house. We get several nurses. I never stopped working. We get several nurses qualified while I'm in the hospital. And they put me out the intensive care unit 72 hours later, because I guess they're figuring this lady does not need to be in here. And that was a Saturday morning. And I spent 2 weeks here in the hospital in Baton Rouge. Had a ton of visitors come through. Never stopped working. Had a team meeting maybe that Sunday night or that Monday night after I was shot. And I just kept working because I felt like, as I said, if I was not given the opportunity to keep being able to help others, it would have allowed for me to, I guess, sink into that spot of, okay, I'm paralyzed. What am I gonna do? This is bad. I never had time. I just had to keep going, and I've been going since. And when I tell you, really kept going, I even got my surgeon qualified when I got to New Orleans in rehab. He's getting ready to remove bullets out of my chest. And I'm asking him, are you a homeowner? And he was like, no, ma'am, we're not, but we would like to be. And of course, I had one of the nurses give him my business card. I was in that hospital for about 9 weeks. And in that time, I recruited 4 agents, 4 nurses to become realtors, and I got my surgeon qualified to purchase a home in New Orleans.
That's amazing.
Yes, and another thing, like I said, at the time I was with Keller Williams, and this is really a test to the culture of that company. New Orleans is about an hour away from us, and they didn't want me to be in New Orleans by myself without family. So what the market centers did in New Orleans was they set it up to where I would have 2 agents a day come visit me, so I wouldn't be down there by myself. And those agents thought that they were coming in to, I guess, feed my spirit and my soul. And they quickly realized that when they came to me, it quickly turned into a coaching moment. And before long, everyone's like, okay, when is my turn to go see Angela? When is my turn to go see her? Because I'm like, bring your business, bring me your 411s, bring me your business plans. Let me see how we're going to grow your business while I'm here. So I forged a lot of relationships. And like I said, it never allowed me to go down that dark spot of, life has changed. This is the end. What am I going to do? I can't be a mom. I'm in a wheelchair. It's weird to say, but that morning, almost like the best thing that ever happened in life, because it gives me an opportunity to meet people that I've never met before. And it gives me an opportunity to advocate for people who can't advocate for themselves.
Well, you always said you wanted to be different, right?
Yeah.
You've really separated yourselves from the pack with, your mental strength, your physical strength, your overall strength. It's incredible. So,
and I often ask myself, I say, is it the medications that the doctors have me on and make me think that I'm like this superpower girl? But, like I said, all my blessings come from above. I can remember being in that hospital that night, and of course I was having like a little breakdown moment, and I can remember clearly hearing the voice tell me, you pray for strength and I have the rest. And every day I wake up and I pray for strength. And I just say, okay, God, what we doing today? Where are you going to use me at today? And whether it's something real estate related, whether it's something domestic violence related. As I say, Grayson, he has Down syndrome. So I advocate for the, special needs, the disabled, anyone who needs a voice. I'm there. And it's such a humbling experience to meet people when they say that they've been praying, and then I'm that person that shows up. And I said, boy, God sure has a lot of faith in me. And I can remember one of my mentors out of Florida, that was one of his things. He told me, he was like, Angela, I'm not going to say your relationship with our father is any better than mine. But he said, he gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. And obviously you're one of his warriors. And at that time, I was really looking at just jumping 110% in, to having a full-fledged team, because of course I couldn't show property anymore. And, a lot of people tend to think that when you're paralyzed that you don't feel anything. And that is the farthest from the truth. But he told me, he was like, where have you made the greatest impact in the last 90 days? Has it been in the real estate community, or has it just been in your community, period? And it was just in the community. So as I was, telling my friend girl this morning, Real estate is used to be the vehicle to get you to where your true passion and purpose is. And that's what I tell a lot of people. You know, when you get into this business, use it to bring you to where you really, really want to be, you know. And I just find that it puts me in a spot, like I said, to meet people that I would have never met before. And like I said, if it's buying a home or just some type of inspiration or just some type of resource, it's a great feeling to be able to help people.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about domestic abuse. I know that's a big, very subject dear to your heart. You know, and you said several times you wouldn't change anything. From a domestic abuse standpoint, for others out there, I mean, what's the story? What's the lesson here? What's the take? Is there things that could have been picked up on or learned from this that can avoid the situations like this that you've learned since then? Or
I've learned a lot. In my case, it wasn't so much physical at first, it was more verbal. And a lot of people think verbal abuse is not abuse, but it really is. And then there's that embarrassment of, if she let someone at home talk to her that type of way, why would I want her coaching me? Why would I want her mentoring me? You know, she can't keep her own stuff together at home. But I never looked at myself as a victim. And I guess that's why I never made the connection there. But after this happened, there were a ton of signs that were there. And I tell a lot of people, if you do not know the definition of a narcissist, learn it. Because when you go through that definition and that checklist, and you are with someone that's like that, you definitely need to go the opposite direction. Because what that person does is, you think it's this loving, giving relationship, but what it really turns out to be, they want to give so they can take. It's an exertion of power, and that's what it was in my relationship. This person thought that they were losing control. You know, as I said, my business really started changing in 2016, and I had a lot coming up for 2017. And in his eyes, he just thought, okay, I'm losing her. She's not. Yeah, he was losing control. And like I said, I'm in the state of Louisiana, and we are number 2 when it comes to homicides that's related to domestic violence. We have to learn to speak up, not be ashamed, not be embarrassed to have those conversations, and be transparent, you know, with our closest people. And another thing I've also learned, and I tell people, you know, when someone comes to you and they tell you that they're going through this, don't judge them. Don't ask them, why do you stay? I would never put up with that. Why haven't you left? Because all it does is it turns that person away from you. And when they cut their relationship off with you, you're no longer in that position to be there when they really do need someone to talk to, or to know if that relationship is evolving into something more violent. So I just really tell people, you know, when you have someone that's in that type of situation, it takes a woman on the average 6 times to leave an abusive relationship before she actually leaves. And those were things that I did not know. I didn't know anything about domestic abuse, nothing. It was just, oh, they fighting, they arguing, you know. But listening to the stories that I've heard over the last 2.5 years, it's sad. It's really, really sad. And there's so many women that want to leave, but they cannot leave, whether it's due to not being able to take care of themselves financially, scared that their abuser is going to take the children from them, not knowing where they're going to live when they leave. It's a lot. And one of the biggest things is the shelters. You know, when a woman decides that she wants to leave, there's no housing for her when she's ready to go. That's one of the biggest things. And like I tell people, I'm in real estate. I know a ton of investors. Why can't I put investor groups together to where we can buy fourplexes, eightplexes, duplexes to house these women when they get the strength to leave those violent relationships? You know, as realtors, we are resources for our community because we know people from all different walks of life, different businesses. Why shouldn't we connect those people? And like I say, this happening to me turned out to be one of the best things because, like I said, it gives you a purpose that really, really means something, and that really helps someone. Because like I say, when I die and I go to heaven, I really, really want God to really tell me that I did a really, really good job. And I don't know, you know, what people religious backgrounds are that's listening to our podcast. But I always tell people, you know, God never leaves us, we leave him. And I do know that morning when I called for him, he showed up immediately for me. And it's like he popped down to earth and said, child, you are protected. I'm gonna go back up to heaven, but if you need me, call me. And I've been blessed every day, all day since that day. I can't get a request out before it's answered. And good people are constantly being put in my life every day. And that's one of the additional ways that I'm able to continue in real estate, continue pouring into others, because I have people that pour into me and that Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're back. I lost you for the
Yeah,
last 10 seconds.
I see. But every day it's a new thing. Like I said, today was the first day that I took a lift totally by myself with my 4-year-old. By myself. I live without a caregiver. It's me and my 4 children. When my oldest son moved home, I gave him 1 year at home with us and I put him out. I said, you know, you're a baby. I don't want your life to be the life of caring for your mom. You know, I want you to be your 20-year-old self and enjoy life. So I'm at home and I take care of my kids. I learned how to cook, clean, do laundry, you know. And I can remember my coach saying, well, you've learned how to do all that stuff. When are you gonna go back to all the income producing tasks? So every day that I get stuck doing laundry, I'm thinking, laundry's exciting, but it's not paying the bills. Let me get on the phone and start making my phone calls. So yeah, but I've always kept a coach in my life. I've always kept a mentor. I even have a mentor that's in a wheelchair. One of them, she's been in her wheelchair for 30 plus years. And the other young lady, she's a realtor here. She's been in her wheelchair for 10 years. And I tell her they have me spoiled because they both drive. One had children after she became paralyzed. And they keep going. They don't let it stop them. And whenever I'm having one of those tough days, I call and I check in with them because, like I said, they will pour back into me, which allows me to come back out and pour back into others.
Wow. Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, I guess it's quite a blessing. I mean, with real estate, you're so lucky. You have the flexibility to be able to do it from anywhere, right? And you can
Exactly.
take advantage of leverage, and you're naturally such a good people person. So it's such a good fit for you in so many ways.
Exactly. And like I said, in some of the groups, when I'm talking to people and they're asking, you know, how do you stay employed? What is it that you do? And I always post in some of our groups, I sell real estate. If you want, I can teach you what to do. you know, and it really won't even interfere with some of the, you know, assistance that some people get for being disabled or whatever. But I always say, you know, real estate is one of the best careers that you can have. I learned early on that this is one of the very few careers that you can dictate how much money you want to make every year. You know, you can wake up tomorrow and say, hey, you know, next month I want to make $30,000. How much time and energy are you going to put in to make that $30,000? Being on, I don't want to use the word regular job, but, you know, working for someone else, you don't have control of your life that way. And once again, I get to say that I'm extremely blessed because I am in a position where I do have control, you know, and like I said, learning to leverage, that was one of the hardest things. And also learning how to accept help from other people, that was one of the hardest things for me. But like I said, I've learned that when someone else wants to bless you, you let them do that because that's what God has laid on their heart to do, and that's how they're going to receive their blessings.
So if you could, you know, look back, say 20 years ago when you were starting out in real estate, the young Angela who's just dying to get into it all and was super excited, what would you tell her now, knowing what you know?
Get a coach. Get a coach. Because of course, you know, we all have to go through those, you know, trials and error, you know, learning. But if you get a coach, some of those things that you had to learn the hard way, some of those lessons you had to learn the hard way, you wouldn't have had to learn. And it's great to have someone to hold you accountable, because a lot of people say that they want to be held accountable, but when accountability shows up, they run the opposite way. And I will tell you, my 9-year-old Cameron, he's my accountability person at home, because when he comes home, he says, Mama, did we help a family today? And I refuse to tell my 9-year-old that I didn't do anything when we didn't help a family today. So he checks in every afternoon, and that's one of his alarms that show up on my phone, find the family.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, you know, I know you laughed at the getting a coach thing, but it's the constant theme that I'm hearing when I'm interviewing agents like yourselves who have these stories. They are so gifted in like sales or with people or with technology. They all have something going on, but until they got a coach, they struggled in a lot of different areas. And as soon as they got the coach, they're really able to level up and take a lot of the stress off their shoulders, a lot of the not knowing, right? And it really just gave them so much more control and freedom and success.
Exactly.
Someone they can get the roadmap from that coach. I mean, I think the other big thing I've learned a lot, I don't know what you'd say to this, is you don't always have to stay with the same coach. I mean, coaches are great to get you to a certain level, but once you get to that level, you should also try another coach to keep learning, right? Because you can only learn so much.
And I actually changed the type of coach that I had once I came back home from the hospital. I needed a transformational coach. Because a transformational coach and a production coach are going to be two totally different coaches. And with that transformational coach, they were able to help me look at myself and evaluate my mindset and how I really was going to work through what had happened, and, you know, how it was going to change the dynamics of my business and not to be stuck in my head. You know, like I said, being stuck in that rut of, oh my God, I'm paralyzed. What am I going to do? And I said transformational coach is kind of like the psychologist of real estate. And that's what he was for me when I came home. And now I'm back to just a production coach.
So that was more of a mental coach, yeah?
Yes. I needed it.
Yeah. No, I think it's important. I interviewed a guy yesterday called Brian North. He grew up in a very poor family, mother, you know, divorced, went to 13 different schools. She couldn't hold down a job, and he was just really lost. But once he was naturally very determined in real estate, but he had a lot of, there's a lot of stuff he wanted to work out up here to stay strong. So he got a mental coach and taught him how to stay centered and breathing and different things. And just to stay really focused. And I think that's, you know, a great route for a lot of real estate agents, because it can be very overwhelming. And a lot of real estate agents don't have really secure backgrounds, right, to fall back on,
Exactly.
families. So,
And that's what I've learned. You know, when you get to talking to agents in this business, everyone has a story. And it's amazing to listen to those stories and to see where they come from. And when you look at them now, you won't believe it. But a lot of it is mindset. One of my closest friends here, she will tell you, in 2014, she had a mindset change. And she went from doing 35 to 42 transactions a year to now on the average of about 119 to 120 a year. She's a solo agent with just an assistant. And she will tell you it was her mindset. And I always think about that. You know, what's your mindset? What's your mindset? And when you change your mindset and start applying those actions, and I see your business has no other choice but to grow. You have no other choice but to see change in your business.
who was that? What was her name?
Her name is Joy Russell. She's here in Baton Rouge. She's going to be another one that we would like to introduce you to. She has a great story also.
I'd love to talk to her. Yeah, she sounds amazing. Well, look,
She's an amazing woman. She actually works 6 months out of the year and vacation the other 6 months.
Whoa, that's the dream,
know, right?
right?
She will tell you mindset and discipline.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's the dream.
And it's great to have people like that surround you, because they really help motivate you. She was part of what I called my board of directors when my injury first happened. It was her and 2 other agents. They literally just stepped in and took over my business those first few days to allow me to accept what was going on, you know, physically with my body, and to see where I was headspace wise. But then they realized, oh wait, Angela, she good. We could just be here for support. And like I said, it's great to have people like that on your team.
100%. Yeah. That's a strong team. All right, great. Well, look, I don't want to keep you. I know you've got a busy day ahead and you've got your son there. So I want to thank you so much for your time, being so gracious, sharing your story. And I think there's a lot of lessons for a lot of people going to learn from this. So we appreciate you.
I just hope that I was able to touch someone and inspire someone there. Regardless of what life gives you, it's totally up to you to decide how you receive it. You know, you can let it be your downfall, or you can let it be the greatest thing that ever happened. And at this moment, I am choosing to let it be one of the greatest things that ever happened. And like I said, to keep moving forward.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, look, hey, you've got a big fan here in California. You ever need anything from out here, let me know. And have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.